When drawing the plants, we don't need to make them overly detailed, as this is more about showing the layers and color relationships in the elevation view. Now, you can see that I've completed drawing the foreground plants. In this area, I've used linear plants like golden variegated sweet flag, as well as clump forming colorful foliage plants like New York aster, and larger leaf plants like heuchera. I've also included trailing plants like verbena and variegated star jasmine. These plants can be adjusted according to seasonal changes. For example, large-leaved or broad-leaved plants, such as hostay, can be used in early spring or around May for similar compositions. The same goes for ornamental grasses. In addition to golden variegated sweet flag, you can also use golden sedge or Japanese sedge for these combinations. Now, let's move on to drawing the mid-layer plants. At this stage, we've almost completed drawing all the plants. It might be difficult to distinguish one from another, especially since we have many similar, upright plants like salvia species, such as blue sage, Mexican sage, and azure sage and liatris blazing star. Their flower spikes might look quite similar, making it hard to differentiate between them just by their outlines. Maybe you can distinguish ornamental flowers and grasses. The next step is to add color to the drawing. This will help us clearly identify each plant and give us a better sense of the overall color scheme and how it will look. Alright, now that we've completed the line drawings for the plant and elevation views, let's move on to coloring. Starting with Eupatorium japonicum, which has a light pinkish purple effect when it blooms. Now, we'll move on to coloring the blue sage. Next, let's color the miscanthus. Now, we'll add color to the Mexican sage. The next one is mist flower. Finally, we'll color the blue bedder's page. As you can see, the plan and elevation views are now nearly complete. Notice how the leaf shapes of different plants interweave with each other. In planting design, especially in these long, rectangular flower beds, rhythm is important. Many of the plants are repeated throughout the design, with variations in the size of their groupings. For example, miscanthus appears here, here, and here, while Mexican sage is placed in multiple locations as well. This interweaving of plants helps create a layered effect, with overlapping relationships between the foreground and background plants. There's also a connection in the color scheme. For example, pink plants appear both in the foreground and background, and the same goes for the purple tones. From the plan view, you can see clusters of plants with similar colors grouped together, but these are also connected to other areas. The elevation and plan views work together to help us visualize the overall layout, ensuring that the color scheme is harmonious and that the continuity of the design is clear. The elevation view particularly helps us understand the interplay and layering of linear and colored foliage plants. Due to time constraints, the elevation view may not be very detailed, but in the later stages when creating the final rendering, we can present the relationships between the plants and the variations in flower shapes more finely. Alright, that's the end of today's lesson. I encourage you all to take some time to practice this kind of drawing to strengthen your flower border design skills. As you can see, we've completed the plan and elevation drawings of the flower border, resulting in a finished effect. You can use this approach for your homework or during your regular practice sessions. In the plan view, we primarily focus on the rhythm of the color blocks. For example, with yellow, you might notice that in some areas the color is more compact, while in other areas it's spaced out more, but there's always an interweaving relationship of colors across the different sections. The same applies to pink plants. Both the foreground and background feature these plants, creating a sense of movement and rhythm across the entire design. As I mentioned earlier, the plan view is a part of the conceptualization process. Through this, we can determine the overall direction of our color scheme, the primary color tones, and how the colors relate to each other in the foreground and background. The elevation view, on the other hand, helps us understand the layering of the plants. It allows us to check whether the distribution of tall and short plants is balanced, whether there are too many tall plants clustered in one area and too many short plants in another. By reviewing the elevation view, we can assess whether the overall relationship is harmonious. Today's exercise ends here. I hope you will continue to practice, as this will help you master the art of flower border design. Thank you for listening.